Hey, I'm Duke on Twitch. If you want to support the channel and greensunzenith.com, you can find my Patreon, merch store, and singles store where you can buy singles through TCG Player or Card Hoarder in the video description. If you want to get in contact, you can also find all that info in the description below for things like donation deck lists or just wanting to reach out. Alright, let's get right into it.
Nice. Hey T, welcome back to Dugs on Twitch. Back for the 7th stream and the final stream of the Green Sun Summit. But I definitely left the best till last. Michael Mapson, welcome. In front of me we have Bant Nadu. Is this a deck that you've been testing out for a little while now?
Yeah, so for those who know me, I play a lot of Legacy. I will say the past couple of weeks, I have not played a ton of Legacy. I've been focused on Pioneer for the regional championships. Unfortunately, that went terrible for me, but the fortunate part is now I get to focus on Legacy again and prep for Eternal Weekend. So when I was playing a lot before, this is the last deck I was on. I won one of the Buffalo Chicken Dip Legacy events playing this deck, and did well in a couple other events with it. It's been very good to me. A lot of people ask, like, why aren't you playing Depths? Like, do you think Depths is poorly positioned? That's not the case. I actually still think Depths is pretty good, even though not that many people are playing it. But this deck scratches a lot of the same itches for me, whereas it gives you that Green Sun Zenith package. It gives you like a little bit of a creature combo feel, but it gives you Force of Will, whereas Steps doesn't get Force of Will. And even though Force is not a good card, it is a very necessary card a lot of times. So this just, gives me very similar vibes, is winning a lot, and it's kind of new. And I also just really enjoy Nadu. So it's been a very good combination. I have a lot of friends who are also playing the deck. It's been very successful for them as well. I was just telling Dukes before we started, it had a great performance across a variety of events this weekend. It has 2 copies sitting in the top 8 of Eternal Weekend Asia right now. There's a 5K that's local to me where I had three copies in top 8. There was an event in the Maryland, Virginia area this weekend that was invite only that my friend won playing this deck. So I just think it's very good. It's likely my top choice for Eternal Weekend. So I've been playing it some, getting warmed back up and having a blast.
That's really nice to hear. It's always nice to be known for a deck. Like I would say for Legacy, I definitely know you for Dark Depths, and if I put a modern deck up against your name, it's probably Primetime with the little artifact. We're getting there. Amulet of Vigor. There we go. Amulet Titan. We got there. Nice. So to find a new deck must be kind of refreshing. To do well with it is great as well. And to like tune it over time would be really nice. I do understand how good it is as well to move back towards like a Force of Will deck where, as you said, not a great card, but sometimes it's just great to have the Force to make sure you're staying alive. And to have the consistency as well of Ponder and Brainstorm is just really nice to have in a Green Suns deck because there's not many of them in Legacy.
Yeah. It's funny. I actually board out Force a lot, and people are like, that can't be right, can it? It's like, I don't think you understand how many games I've won without Force of Will in my deck. Like, it's just there for when I truly need it.
Yeah, I know that a lot of especially like this kind of fair matchups back and forth to go down on Force of Wills because just the 2-for-1 typically isn't worth what you're getting rid of. But yeah, it's so nice to have. And in this deck with Mana Dorks as well, you do have something a little bit unique that other Force of Will decks don't, is that you can ramp into it to hopefully even hardcast it by turn 3 or 4 if you can.
Definitely.
What are the combos in this deck with Nadu?
Okay, so Nadu Winged Wisdom, its main combo here is with Nomads en-Kor. So Nomads en-Kor has an ability that costs 0 mana and you get to target something. The ability does come up, but not that often. What comes up more is just that you get to target your stuff. So Sorry about that. For 0 mana, you get to target all your things. So you get to target a thing, trigger Nadu, target the thing, trigger Nadu, target another thing, trigger Nadu, so forth, so forth. And so for every creature you have, you get 2 Nadu triggers. So you flip your top card over. If it's a land, it goes into play. If it's a spell, it goes in your hand. What's nice about this is it's not drawing a card. So it gets rid of Narset or Whole Breacher or Orcish Bowmaster. And obviously, it accrues a massive value. And then when you pass to your opponent's turn, you get to do it again. So that's the upside for Nomads versus something like Shuko. Because people ask all the time, why aren't you an Urza Saga deck? Why don't you tutor up Shuko? Well, Urza Saga is really hard on the mana in your 3-color deck, and Shuko is just not as powerful as Nomads. Um, in addition to Nomads, you also have Sylvan Safekeeper. So Sylvan Safekeeper similarly can target your own things an unlimited number of times a turn. Technically, it's not unlimited because you are limited by the number of lands you have. So it's not as good as Nomads, but the fact that it saves your creatures can be huge. So a lot of matchups, if you just assemble Sylvan Safekeeper and Nadu, you can just leave them in play and like not press the button until you need to find something. But just the fact that your Nadu can't die is good enough. Um, Karakas is another way you can trigger your Nadu. It is also insanely satisfying when your opponent targets your Nadu with removal and you flip a Karakas off the top to save it. It's like the best feeling in the world.
Yes. Because you
And
even get
then,
the second trigger as well. One for targeting Nadu and
yes,
then one for the Karakas targeting Nadu.
it's really good.
Yeah.
And then Bristly Bill is another one that targets. Bristly Bill is also great. It's very confusing to play with in paper to track where your build triggers are going and your Nadu triggers are going. But it's
Yes.
what's nice is it's a green sun zenithable target that also triggers Nadu, and you don't have full control over it because you need landfall. But the whole thing is you get started. You play the land, you trigger Bill triggers Nadu flips a land triggers Bill, and it just digs you through your deck enough and generates enough of an advantage while also putting enough power in play that it's usually game ending. Um, and that is also like at the end is generally how you win is by grabbing Bill and being like, okay, my board's huge. So those are the combos, and also just your opponent pointing removal at your Nadu.
Yeah, I think one key word you said there was value, because this deck isn't running the other half of the Nomad en-Kor combo that you see in Cephalid Breakfast. We're not seeing Thassa's Oracle here. And I assume that's because the value that is generated by Nadu is just enough in this build that you don't need like a specific card that actually wins you the game.
Correct. Yeah. Thassa's Oracle is just not a strong card, which sounds like a weird thing to say because it wins so many games. But it's just like a necessity, right? It's not necessary in this deck. You can just go wide. What you can do if you want is you can play a copy of Springheart Nantuko, which I recently cut from my list. It's good but not necessary, and that is whenever a land enters under your battlefield, you can make a 1/1. But you can also bestow Springheart Nantuko onto something, which gives it landfall, make a copy of the creature it's bestowed onto. And what you can do with that is perform the same loops people may be familiar with from Modern, um, where you go through your deck. You have Springheart Nantuko on Endurance, so every land you make a creature, and then you can sack all your lands to so in Safekeeper, uh, put another land into play, copy the Endurance that you have bestowed, put all the lands on the bottom of your deck, and then keep going essentially. So you can make an infinite army of guys. You can then get creative with that if you want and include Teferis in the mix so you can bounce all their non-land permanents, and then you can also get extra tricky with it and Boseiju all of their non-basic lands, and then you can just pass the turn with infinite guys, your opponent only having basics and you having 4 Force Wolves in your hand, and it's pretty impossible to lose from that spot.
Yes. Yeah, the deck seems great from a value perspective. The sideboard's cool as well. Like, I feel like Consign to Memory wasn't the biggest card that came out from MH3 from like the spoilers that people are like, oh, this is legacy playable, but it seems really good right now, especially against decks like Eldrazi. And just the counter triggered ability. Are there any triggered abilities that come to mind straight away that, you know, people might get mixed up with things you can stifle, like an activated ability?
So I've definitely seen people talk about playing it against Urza Saga, trying to counter the making guys, and that does not work. But you can counter the ability that gives Urza Saga like the ability to make guys. So like you can counter the chapter two, like the counter goes on, a trigger goes on the stack. You can counter that, but you can't then counter the activation of Urza Saga.
Yes. Interesting. Okay. It's great, yeah, against Eldrazi because you can either hit the colorless spell, which I assume most of the time you would, or you could hit the triggered ability for when it's cast. Like say, I was just playing Cloudpost with Tony Murata before, and he was talking about how he's had his Ulamog trigger hit by Consign before, and then that was kind of his way to win the game, but he obviously didn't get that and lost the following turn, so it's, yeah, pretty sweet. And I believe it plays around Chalice to some extent because of the Replicate.
Correct. Yeah, the card's very good, and against cards like Ulamog, I'm not sure which of the Ulamogs you're talking about, but where they have the cast trigger and or the creature, it's nice because you can counter both halves.
Yes, you can. Okay, so Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunter, when it's cast, you can exile up to 2 target permanents, and then if you have 2 mana up here, you can obviously counter both the triggered ability and also Ulamog itself. Yes. Yeah. And then we have some pretty cool hits with Green Sun Zenith, which I love. Toxicrene seems great for Eldrazi and Cloudpost.
Yeah, that's the hope. I haven't actually had the chance to put it in play yet. The Eldrazi matchup is not good, so just looking for some ways to help that.
Nice. Liberator, a pretty easy inclusion for any Green Suns decks as just a way to deal with artifacts or enchantments with potentially the ability to get some extra value if it flips. Keen-Eyed is great as well. This card's been quite good against some of the decks that have a lot of 2 card type cards. Like against Painter, it's quite easy to turn on because of cards like Urza's Saga being an enchantment and a land, or Painter being a creature and an artifact. I've been really impressed by this card, and I feel like the colorless ability instead of a green like Scavenging Ooze also just means you're typically a lot more open to using it with your mana, which is great.
Yeah, my big issue with it is a lot of times it's been too slow, but it is still very powerful, and having a proactive thing you can tutor for is really nice. And it used to be like you're not gonna tutor for endurance as much because then they can just refill. But having this is just like it just sits there. They have to answer it before they can do anything with their graveyard.
Yeah. Collector Oof, I think, just still wins matches, which is great. There aren't as many like 8 cast decks running around, but there's still some Lotus Petal based Storm decks, and a few Grim Monolith decks that I've seen in leagues. And then anything with like the ring, sometimes Oof is just exactly what you want. Ground Seal's an interesting one because Ground Seal's a card that's been out since, what was the first printing? I believe it was Odyssey. It seems like a great card because it replaces itself on ETB, and then it obviously stops Reanimate and Animate Dead. Are there any other big cards in Legacy right now that it stops?
So those are the big ones, like you said, but it's also good against Painter because of Goblin Welder.
Yes. Very true. It's also an enchantment, so they can't get rid of it in case you have like, if it was an artifact and you had an artifact in your bin. Actually, they couldn't do it anyway. I didn't say anything. Yeah, Ground Seal's sweet. I love seeing this card. I think the first time I kind of saw it was in the Rug DRC build a few months back, as just a way to get around, I guess, grief and a few other things. But yeah, really, really powerful card. I believe it also stops Loam from targeting
Yep.
lands. Nice. Veil. It's always just nice to have access to a Veil, especially now with blue-black in such a position.
Yeah, it's funny. I thought Veil might not be as good with grief being gone, but I'm noticing I'm getting Thoughtseize a lot, so maybe it's still just as good as ever.
Yeah. Carpets, obviously fantastic against other blue decks, especially Wasteland decks. Like, I would say that most blue-black players, probably more the tempo decks, play pretty similar to Delver in how they try to manage your mana. So having access to Carpet, which once in play is pretty hard for a lot of decks to deal with really bounce spells being the only way. It's, yeah, I think it's just stood the test of time.
Yeah, definitely agree.
And then, yeah, Prismatic and Path, two great removal spells. Path being able to hit anything from, Frog all the way up to Archon is great. Something like Dismember only has so many targets. So, yeah, I think Path is like Swords number 5 is really nice. Nice. Shall we?
Let's do it.
Have been looking forward to this. I haven't played Nadu online yet. I wasn't too sure how many players make you click through it all.
Not as many do in Legacy as did in Modern. It's also not as bad in Legacy, I find. The Nomads you can click through pretty quick, and the issue, like with the modern builds, was with Springheart and Tuco, you would just generate so many permanents that it would like lag down your computer.
Yes.
I don't really have an issue finishing the matches, even when they make me play it out in Legacy. Versus in Modern, I was like timing out left and right.
Nice. All right. I believe we are on the draw. With a one-lander, which is pretty tough.
I actually keep a lot of one-landers.
Okay.
Which might not be correct. I don't know. You have 21 lands, 20 if you don't count Dryad Arbor. So you've got like a 1 in 3 chance of hitting. So it's not that bad. And like this hand is kind of whatever. But like just going turn 1, like fetch for Tropical Island, Green Sun Zenith for Arbor is like not the worst. Assuming you don't get wastelanded, you get to like untap and brainstorm. And I find you generally don't get wastelanded. Like there's not as much wasteland running around as there has been historically, I feel like. And some of the decks that even are on wasteland aren't on the full 4. So like I feel fairly okay.
Cool. Nice. Yeah, like I definitely understand the reasoning. And I think as well, once you start playing cantrips, you are a little bit more likely to keep, like, Koval, of course, says Island Pond to keep. So I think being on the draw and like even just one land off the top would change his hand pretty phenomenally.
Yeah, the awkward thing about it is like Sylvan Safekeeper is not great in your opening hand. So that's almost like a mold to 6. Like I have preferred that have just been a fetch, but
yes,
it is what it is.
Yeah, the second Green Suns is nice because it turns on Noble as white mana. And then it's also a shuffle for the Brainstorm if we don't hit a fetch as a mana source. So they are a Yorion deck, so I assume this might be like a like just 5-color Yorion.
Oh, I hadn't even noticed the Yorion. I definitely would have said keep.
Cool, yeah. Because I assume this version doesn't play like a Wasteland package.
Usually they do, but they have even less. So here I'm snapping off the Brainstorm.
Yeah.
Like my ideal is hit a fetch, Green Sun Zenith for Delighted Halfling. Yep, those can go away. So you can put back the Endurances, or you could put back Endurance Safekeeper if you want it, but I would put back double Endurance, I think.
Yeah. Nice. And then, yeah, Delighted Halfling, obviously really nice here. We can get a Savannah, which also allows us to actually cast, say, Swords to Plowshares, which is nice.
See, I would typically get Tundra, especially
Okay.
you already have double green with the Dryad Arbor.
Yes, very true. That's actually, yeah, a great point.
Savannah's, well, after Dryad Arbor, Savannah's the worst land in the deck, which feels
Okay.
bad.
Yeah, especially because you can't ponder off it, I guess. Trop seems the best.
Yes.
Yeah, keeping the Safekeeper is nice because if we really want to, we can play Nadu and Safekeeper. And Karakas on Nadu is kind of like the Leovold effect, where it's not the greatest creature to push back each turn.
So what I would do here is I would actually just play the Teferi.
Okay.
Because they have white available, they could have swords. So, like, I mean, you could also lead Safekeeper and then play Nomads Nadu. But if they have force, then they stop the Safekeeper, and then if they have swords after it, they can break things up. Whereas you're not under any amount of pressure here. So the Teferi means that next turn you can deploy safely, and then like the game's basically over from there.
Yeah. Do you care about the Delighted Halfling at all? Like, would you like to use like Teferi first and then potentially remove it with swords?
I like don't.
Cool. Yeah. Nice.
I mean, I guess it depends on what you think they're going to do with it.
Yeah, like for what we know, if they have another land, they get to play Yorion, but on this board it isn't great. Well, we get to bounce it as well anyway if we want.
Yeah, you could just do that.
I
I'm
assume
pretty
this deck
okay with
is not
that.
running is not running like a reach effect like Bolt. We might as well deploy the Nomad this turn.
No.
You don't want to open it up to
You don't want
spot
it to
removal?
get swords.
Yeah. Nice. Yeah, I feel like Teferi in this build with Nadu is just so nice to know that, nothing too... I guess the opponent can't really do anything other than, Karakas, but Safekeeper covers that. Okay. Tick up first. And then I assume the sequence is probably Nomad, Safekeeper, and then Nadu?
Yeah.
The real one is just getting Safekeeper down before the Nadu so that they can't Karakas it.
Like, honestly, even if we let them Karakas it, it wouldn't be the end of the world. Okay, hope you got that clicking hand ready.
Well, I don't need it, thankfully.
That's fair.
Yeah. We talked about how you took out Force in a lot of matches. Is this a matchup where the 2-for-1 is not that appealing? Or do you like having some sort of control over the board?
So this is one where I probably don't care about Force too much, but I also don't care about any of the sideboard cards. I would probably bring in Keen-Eyed Curator, just because a lot of times these are a Loam and or Uro deck. And I might trim either a Ponder or a Force. But other than that, like, I don't think I'm doing too much until they show us more of their deck. Like, I might have more changes to make game 3 if there is one, but like, I'm pretty happy just running it back.
Yeah, nice. And like, yeah, it's really interesting because I would think of Carpet, but at the same time, they don't seem like it's going after your mana. So they also, I feel like 5-color also don't run that many islands, or they can build out their mana base where they don't have that many islands in play.
Yeah, every time I bring in Carpet against these Yorion decks, I just kind of feel dumb.
Nice. Yeah, cut a force.
Force or Ponder, it's up to you. You know, whatever feels right, whatever strikes your fancy.
I like that the Ponder gives us some setup for like what we're doing on the following turns. Opponent said that's not Maverick.
I don't know. You have mana dorks. You have a good 3-drop. It's what's not Maverick about it?
Yeah, we're running Green Suns. All right. I mean,
This hand is so iffy. Like,
pretty much a 6 with the
so,
Dryad.
yeah, and the other thing is like we left Force in. You don't typically need it early. But on the other hand, it's like if you just draw a Brainstorm or a Ponder or a Nadu, this hand gets really good, or a Green Sun Zenith. So I think I'm actually pretty okay. Like, I would keep it, but I'm not like excited about it.
Yeah. Do you like leading on Maze just to see what's coming?
I do.
Nice. Okay. I guess yeah, that's a big thing to think about. Like if you're up against a deck with Delighted Halfling, then you have to think about what you can and can't force.
So now that we drew Teferi, I kind of actually like leading with Misty into the Savannah.
Okay. Into Halfling.
Playing the Halfling. Yeah, because if you hit a land, then you get to play the Teferi. I just think it's really nice.
Yeah, Teferi seems like a pretty massive card in this sort of matchup. I guess any sort of blue deck. Especially for this deck where they're probably only going to have 1 or 2 creatures at most in play, so a lot of the time you're able to tick down, protect it, and then untap with it as well. Black.
Leovold?
Ah, Grist. Okay.
Huh. That's pretty gross.
Okay. Interesting. There's a thought of getting both creatures down to potentially get like Teferi bounce your token and then attack Grist with the other 1/1. But I think we could. Hedge Maze and Nomads does pretty much the same thing.
That's what I would do. I would do Hedge Maze.
Interesting. That is an untapped land, which is pretty huge.
Yep, so I would keep it.
Yeah. They don't currently have white mana either, which is nice. And Force is back online as well. I feel like we're in a position where we can just try to force the thing that they want to brainstorm for, most likely, then try to hit the brainstorm.
Yeah, that's usually better. I would not hate it if somebody forced the brainstorm here, but just because I get the feeling they're looking for white mana.
Yes.
So them fixing their draws for a couple turns, that may be all they need.
Brainstorm with Grist is kind of cool because you get to get rid of the card that you don't really want.
Oh, that's true. I don't think I've ever actually played them together.
That's fair. I wouldn't say there's many decks with them both. So it is cool to see, see them out here. I think I'm pretty happy to fight. Yeah, just because this on the field means that bouncing this means that the Grist is just staying down at 1.
Ruined.
Does that change if we want to... I guess if we bounce the token attack, they either... the Grist goes to 1 or they keep the bird. And the Grist goes to 1 or they... yeah, and they keep the bird or they lose the bird and the Grist stays at 2.
Yeah, I'm still doing the bounce play.
Nice. Return the token. Nice. The surveillance are really sweet as well. I feel like it's been really nice to see them in Legacy across multiple decks as just one ofs or two ofs sometimes. But yeah, Grist is not a card that I thought of. I didn't really think of the Black Splash that much when I saw 5 color. Green Suns. Oh, natural order.
I want our force back.
I would assume it's a Traxer.
That would be my guess.
We're probably past the progenitor stays.
They're taking some time to think about it.
Yeah. Wonder what the other targets are. Do any cards spring to mind when you see the oh, okay. Interesting.
What is this?
When it enters, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Whenever it is dealt damage, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control. Interesting. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've seen that card before.
Oh, okay. So if you have like a 9 power of creatures, it just fights them all and doesn't die. It just keeps on fighting. Ooh.
Oh man.
So,
I really wish we had our Nomads back.
yeah. I think we start with the Brainstorm.
Absolutely.
It's so funny to see this doesn't have trample. Like, look at it. Okay.
Easy game. So you're going to put back... I mean, it doesn't really matter the order you put things back.
Yeah, I wonder if we want to put anything in the bin. Like potentially go ponder back, Dryad Arbor on top, archive, put the Dryad Arbor in the bin?
Nah, the Dryad Arbor is actually kind of good.
Okay.
You want to bin the ponder.
So then we want to go Dryad Arbor, ponder, bin the ponder?
Yeah.
You're also now inclined to tell me your dog's name, what type of dog it is, and how old your dog is.
So the one that is barking, that is Tofu.
Cool.
The one that you cannot hear is Lincoln. They are both 5.
Okay.
Tofu is she's like a cattle dog pit bull mix. She's very loud. She's very protective, energetic. I mean, she's very sweet, but just like she's not great around other dogs. She'll get aggressive, unfortunately. And then Lincoln is a boxer hound mix. He's much calmer. He's almost always at my side.
Nice.
And he just likes to go for walks, sleep, and eat.
Sounds like me.
Yeah,
I like playing the Bristly bill here, and then if they want to deal with it, we can untap and we get to play both of these in the same turn.
Actually, it is going to die though, because they're going to grist it. That's kind of a bummer.
Yes, but I think that's fine if they want to remove the grist. Yeah, that's actually true. I thought for some reason I was kind of tunnel visioned into the Teferi being the grist target, but obviously they can just attack Teferi. I wonder if that means their last card in hand is Atraxa. Because surely they play it.
Yeah, who knows?
There it is. Interesting. Interesting they didn't go for Atraxa. It was on top.
I mean, they might have just thought killing, like we had a combo piece in play, right? So if they get Atraxa and don't find a removal spell and we untap and play Leofold, or not Leofold, untap and play Nadu, they look really dumb.
That's very true, yeah. That's a great point. Yeah. Value isn't everything.
I also don't know how good or not good of an Atraxa deck their deck is. 3-drop? What 3-drop are we getting? Huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so what's cool is our combo gets around Leofold.
Yeah.
Oh, and they didn't minus.
Yeah, wow.
That's perfect.
They have 1 card left.
Are they going at us or Teferi? Teferi? Yeah, this is so ideal.
Wow, no, they have no cards in hand.
You have to tap blue mana for that?
Apologies.
I know blue wasn't in your normal
gosh.
wheelhouse.
Oh my gosh, I swear I did. I apologize. Is there like it doesn't really matter what target?
It doesn't. So I'm trying to think if there's any reason. There's a good argument for putting someone bill so that you can try to attack the grist for lethal.
Nice, yeah. Hey, there we go. It's hard to keep up with like what you've targeted and what you haven't, because I believe we've targeted Dryad Arbor twice. No. Okay. So now we can play the...
Did you target the Nomads itself?
I believe so. I assume here we'd much rather play the Delighted Halfling and get 2 more than a land for swords, because we're most likely in their turn going to reveal a land to be able to cast the swords if needed.
Um, it's kind of up to you. It's all the same.
Yeah, so nomad target itself. Oh, there was a trigger. Okay. And then halfling.
Sweet. So now we have another hidden land, so the bill is big enough to rumble with their board.
Yes. Especially with sword if we want to get rid of a blocker.
Yes.
In case they put everything in front of it. It doesn't have trample, correct? What it does?
Unfortunately not.
Okay. Yeah, I wonder in upkeep if we can target enough stuff to swords. I guess we can't swords every creature, so we do lose the Nadu potentially.
It's fine if Nadu dies, honestly.
Yeah, I feel like we have the value.
Like, you have another one in your hand.
Hmm. We're probably just getting rid of the Leovold or the Apex and Instep. Nice. I think our opponent just didn't get there. Which, yeah, it does feel pretty tough for them. Like, they feel like they're more on the, like, fair version of... Like, we just have a built-in combo that's really good with value. And to keep up with that is very tough. But yeah, Nomads... It's pretty crazy. That was a great showing of how good Nadu is sometimes.
Yeah, I think in fair decks, you're just a huge favorite.
Yeah. And Safekeeper is such a dirty way to keep it alive. Just so strong, especially when you're hitting lands off the top. Ugh.
Okay, while we are... I was going to say the match is starting. I need to actually... I think she was barking because it's time for breakfast, so I do need to feed her real quick.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'll help you with the hand. Dude, I hate hands like this because it's just like you don't know if it's good or bad because it could be anything.
Yeah, it's like the classic like Metamorphose or like Git Probe kind of hands. I would think it's pretty good. Like Trop into Ponder and then just hold up Brainstorm the following turn.
Yeah, I mean, I would keep it and do the same thing. I'm just like not excited about it. I'd rather just like have a mana dork and a good 3-drop.
Yes. Just before you go, do any of these lands get less than each other?
No, they all hit the same amount.
Perfect.
Okay, so I'll be right back.
Easy. Hey team, a huge thank you for watching as well. If you're not a follower of the channel, I highly recommend it. I will be back on Thursday, most likely, with Mav. And yeah, once one summit ends, the planning for the next one begins. So I thank you all very much for tuning in, especially those watching on YouTube as well. I think we're just going to go Trop here because I wouldn't mind finding a like Green Suns or a another land off the top. This is pretty interesting. I do like all those cards. We have a second land and then we kind of have the combo here. So I think we want to go... There's a question behind like, do I want to hide something? Might just be... All right, Mapson. We've pondered, and we do have the combo. I'm just trying to think if we want to like hide a card or how we want to stack it. Like potentially grab the Nomads, put the sword on top for interaction, and then have the Nadu.
We don't know what we're against yet, I see.
No.
Yeah, I would... I would do... probably Nomads, Nadu, swords.
Yeah, as in swords to the hand or swords to the bottom?
Swords to the hand.
Yeah, nice. The shuffle's also interesting. I do like that it gets us towards our combo, and the brainstorms hopefully get us to the land drops that we need as well. They're excited. Okay. Well, that's nice. I don't think we're in a rush here to get anything down.
Nah.
We're probably looking at an end step brainstorm just to make sure we're hitting that extra land drop off the top.
Oh, good. I was worried they were going to entomb.
We all feel that. Yeah, I'm pretty happy to like run into a Bowmaster here with the sword. Obviously, we don't get the shuffle after, but... Okay. No mana.
That's pretty gross.
Yeah. We could put back...
I'm putting back Brainstorm Uro.
Okay, yeah. I like that. And then probably fetching up the one of the Surveil lands.
Yep.
Probably the Archive. But not really looking for that. Okay. It's probably just Halfling and pass with swords and brainstorm open.
Yep, I'm happy with that. It dawns on me this could be bug beans, in which case I should have said to keep the Uro.
Okay. Yeah, bug beans I haven't come up against too much. I would say... I guess we'll see what happens with the Surveil. Troll, okay. I think if their whole turn is getting the troll back into play, I'd be pretty happy to see that. Ooh.
Not like this, though.
Okay, I think this is fine. Like next time we get to Nomad and then Nadu. Potentially we could end step swords on the troll to even bait a force. If we don't brainstorm now, we're most likely not brainstorming for 2 more turns. So is there a thought of just kind of having a look and seeing what we're going to be drawing into?
I'm actually pretty tempted to fire off this brainstorm.
Yeah. Especially if we find like force back up. Okay.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I kind of had a feeling they had a daze.
Ooh. I think here this is actually pretty interesting because I guess Teferi bounce this is decent.
It's so funny because it's like then it just lets them brainstorm and set it up again.
Hmm.
But I'm actually pretty okay with that.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah. Sorry.
So there is an argument for using the Delighted Halfling for white and playing the Nomads because these decks typically don't have removal in the main deck.
Nice. Okay, yeah. That's perfect.
I mean, like, if they have the Fatal Push, then we look kind of dumb, but like, typically it's not there. Typically, their only main deck removal is like 2 Brazen Borrowers.
Yeah, that's very true. And just to be clear, let's say they have Orcish Bowmasters next turn. They play Orcish Bowmasters, it triggers, it goes to deal 1 damage to Nomad. We can then actually save the Nomad by redirecting that 1 damage to Delighted Halfling.
Yep.
That's how its abilities work. Okay. Does the fetch with like Brainstorm change anything? We're still pretty happy to play the Nomad.
I think the fetch changes it minorly, but like I think I would still just play the Nomads.
Cool.
It's basically the only way I feel like this goes wrong is if they go untap, entomb. But actually, you can beat anything they put into play, even an Atraxa you could beat here.
Yeah. And even Archon, like we get rid of the Delighted Halfling, we discard the Brainstorm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm still not sure how good or not good this matchup is. I think it's very close. But I really need to figure it out because this is obviously like target number 1, you know?
Yeah. I did play the land there, but I think that's incorrect just because of Bristly Bill. You should just hold the land. I just thought use the lands that only tap for 1 here. And
I mean, it's kind of minor.
Okay. I'm happy to see that. Okay. So cards that I just seem to like. Veil seems good. Ground Seal seems good. Carpet's interesting because they are a wasteland deck, most likely. And then maybe the Path and the Keen-Eyed, they're kind of cards that I'm interested in.
Yep, I agree. Where it gets tough, though, is figuring out where to actually fit everything.
Yeah.
So I'm still trying to figure this out. So back when Grief was still around, I used to cut my forces, but I am becoming less and less convinced that is correct. Which is just like awkward. There's like not room for everything. One thing you can do is you can cut the Birds of Paradise because you're essentially replacing that with carpet.
Yeah.
And if they bring in Orcish Bowmasters, which I don't think they're really supposed to, but people do anyways, then Birds is really not good and carpet gets that much better. I usually shave on like a Green Sun Zenith because of like it's kind of weak to days.
Yeah, and I would say there's no like key target that this deck has an issue with. There's no like Collector Oof for blue black.
Yeah, and as much as we've talked about Teferi being really good, this is a matchup where sometimes I cut it. Although the issue with cutting it is you have a very low blue count, so like I always hate cutting blue cards in matchups where I want Force of Will. So this is like where I'm still trying to figure out what's right, you know?
Yeah. As a non-blue player, I've definitely heard of people shaving on Ponders in these sort of matchups. Is that correct? Or does that come into the blue count consideration?
Yeah, it's the same thing where like I'd be okay cutting Ponder, but then it's like you have 9, 14, you have 18 blue cards currently, and like shaving some is so rough.
Yeah.
See, my dogs are making an appearance.
Very
This is
nice.
the one that was barking.
That makes me so happy.
Hi, Tofu.
Okay.
Okay, we have 20 seconds.
Like,
I'm trying to think of what I was doing yesterday.
maybe
You
like
can cut Safekeeper.
yeah, Safekeeper. Maybe a halfling if we have the carpets.
Yeah, you can do that. Cut Halfling, cut a Ponder, and hit submit with 61.
Okay. We did sideboard, which is nice. I did go down the halflings, but hopefully this is still fine. I mean, this is like turn 2 Teferi. And then we do have removal and keen-eyed.
Yeah, I like this hand.
Jib in the Wasteland Pass, most likely just holding up Troll. That's what I hate. I used to love seeing Wasteland Pass. It's like, oh, they're mana screwed, but then of course Troll just is what they're after here. Yeah, sorry. Jib had a great point in this in the chat about Teferi bouncing the miracle creature. Is that after it they can't miracle because of Teferi, which is nice.
Despite the Wasteland, I'm still pretty okay to just like a Green Sun for Dryad Arbor, because if they Wasteland it, then that seems like a win.
Yeah. Would you go off a forest?
It's so awkward because I don't want to, but the answer is probably that that's correct.
Because to be fair, we have access to all basics here, which is kind of nice. If we want one of each. And I think that, like, probably worst case is Cycle Troll, Reanimate Troll, Wasteland us. But that's not the worst. Like, we have swords for the Troll off a basic as well, which is nice. If they're just trying to get, like, Bowmaster here, that's actually not the worst. Okay. I think it's Windswept just because we might want to swords on their turn. And that means we could go Windswept into Plains, swords, untap, drop into either Teferi or Keen-Eyed with a mana open. Yeah, I think I like Windswept, hold up Plains.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Nice. I had a dog growing up, and I do just miss the sound of dogs around the house, especially on wooden floors.
They're a treat. They're also very annoying, but generally they're pretty great. It's very nice to come home from work and just like have these things that have like an unlimited amount of love for you to greet you every day.
Yes. Okay, if they don't reanimate this turn, would you use the swords on the Bowmaster at all? Just to be able to then untap Keen-Eyed with a mana open?
I think I would. Just because I feel like that puts us in a pretty good spot.
Yeah.
It's like awkward because Bowmasters isn't like
the
end all be all or anything, but like it also then unlocks your Teferi down the line. Teferi being able to bounce something. Ooh.
Oh, don't have surgical. Okay.
I think it's nice.
That's pretty interesting because we have a few lines here. What are you thinking?
I think I actually just play the Halfling.
Yep.
Halfling Misty. Because if they reanimate the Troll, then you get to untap and Teferi bounce it, and you don't care at all. And based off of their land situation, it doesn't seem like anything else is getting reanimated.
They also shuffled off the Ponder. And luckily with this mana, even if they have a black source, like sure they can reanimate or animate dead, but they can't entomb the same. And it looks like they just, obviously the cantrip cartel didn't work out for them, but yeah, as you said, I think we have some really nice lines of like next turn Teferi bounce. Like the Key Knight is obviously strong in this matchup. Nadu having like the one piece of combo is sweet. But yeah, Panda just not enjoying what they were doing. So
Sick. That's that is a very good player for those who maybe don't play as much Moto. So that feels good. You know, like winning always feels good, but like there's a clear difference between beating somebody who like makes a bunch of misplays and beating somebody who like is very strong.
Are they a player who like changes up decks or like typically stays on one deck?
They're usually in the blue space, but I want to say they're typically in the Tepo-ish area. I feel like I've seen them play some Doomsday, but they're very strong. So
Nice. Yeah, it's cool. It's always I always love playing against players online, not knowing who they are, and then after like 6 months and like interacting with them, they're like, "Oh, I've played against you a bunch of times," and like, "I'm true futurism," or like, you know, I believe this is a Japanese player, Sylvia. I believe they're a big Delver player.
yep,
Yeah, I think they stream every now and then.
they do.
Yeah, I think is it.
I haven't watched them stream much, but
Also, big shout out to Mo Panda. I know Mo Panda streams, and I believe they just won Eternal Week in Japan. And I believe they've been God of Legacy like back to back a few times now. That, yeah, obviously a very, very strong player. This player here, yeah, they have the trophy, but I feel like I've seen them on the Haruya page a few times. And yeah, I believe he's won at least 2 God of Legacies, which is pretty cool to see.
that'd be such a sick tournament to win. Just to be like, yeah, I'm the reigning god of Legacy. Like,
Yeah. Do you know what you get with it?
you get like free entry and all their events until the next one, right?
Correct. And then after the next God of Legacy, you play against the winner, and you're actually paid to play against the winner. I think it's about it comes out to be like 1,000 USD to like come and then like play against the as the reigning God of Legacy, to obviously try to keep your reign or lose it. But yeah, pretty appealing scene if you're a Legacy fan with multiple tournaments a day.
Yeah. I was saying yesterday, like I was pretty jealous because a couple states over, they just had like a legacy league, and I wish near me I had some kind of series. Like I just think those events where it's like, hey, you're kind of rewarded for continuing to show up, or like you win and then you get a reward to like go to your local events. It's just like it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that is very cool. I've been wanting to do that locally for a while. Even like with one of the stores we have locally, MTG Mate, they just opened up a store front space. It's mainly online for Australians to get singles. But like I would love to do like a legacy. We do it every Wednesday, but just keep a tally of like the players who might like, win each week and then add points and then have like a top 16 event where like 16 players are invited and then play it out for some big prize. I just think it's always nice to have something to build towards other than just weekly events.
Yeah, we had one a while ago, but it was very disorganized, and it was very frustrating because like it was a couple stores that were running it, but then like they would run events on top of each other, and it was like, yeah, like you're competing against your own series. Like, what are you doing? And like they weren't communicating, and I don't know. So it fell apart after a season or two, and I would just love to have something back.
Yeah, I feel like that's an LGS thing because especially for Modern, I found locally, stores love to have the same events on the same weekend where it's like, do it on different weekends and you get like both sets of players at your store and the next week at their store, instead of trying to like divide the community in a little way where you're getting half and half, which is tricky. not the worst hand. A little bit weak to Wasteland, but Brainstorm Land Shuffle is always nice.
Wasteland's not real and it can't hurt us.
Okay.
Yeah, again, this is like not a terrific hand, but I would probably keep it.
Yeah. Again, like as you said, Safekeeper is a nice card to have sort of mid to late game, potentially as a tutor target rather than in your opening hand. Ooh. I'm just going to assume it's Elves here, like a Cradle Control style deck.
Dude, I played against old school like Glimpse Elves yesterday or 2 days ago. I got destroyed. It was awesome.
Wow, that's cool.
I missed that deck.
Were they playing any sort of new cards? Like even I remember some of them were playing the Lord from Modern Horizons, I think.
I don't think so. No, they
Okay.
just turn 2 glimpsed me and then natural order attacked me for like 19. And it's like, okay, sick.
Nice. I would love to deal with the Dryad, but I know that cards like White of the Reliquary are also cards you need to respect.
Yeah, my typical rule of thumb is I do not kill the Dryad Arbor.
Yeah. Like I think, especially seeing we don't have other ways to manipulate their mana, that can be a bit tough. It's like, obviously like, say turn 2 Grist would be tough, but I know like Newton's list isn't playing Grist. So hopefully this list isn't either.
Dude, this hand is so bad against any Cradle or Elves deck.
Shepherd's very interesting, and that makes me think that they are more so on the like combo elves, as you said before, the glimpse version. But we did play against a mirror where they were on the shepherd. Yes, okay. I assume here it just has to be dealing with the shepherd, so that obviously natural order is potentially something we can deal with.
Yeah.
This feels a little bit like who can combo off faster, and being on the draw is a bit tough. There is a world where we could brainstorm here, and then if we find, say, like Nomad and Nadu, we could play Nomad this turn and then untap play Nadu.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely just brainstorming.
Okay. Interesting. Probably Safekeeper and the Uro?
No, I want to get rid of Endurance personally.
Okay, yeah.
I think I might actually pitch Endurance into land. I might actually keep Safekeeper. It's awkward. Safekeeper's not good in this matchup, but just because we don't have Nomads in hand, I almost like keeping it to get the combo started if we find Nadu.
Yeah. I assume then we should just play the Safekeeper this turn. So potentially...
I would play the Halfling.
Okay, yeah. That actually makes sense as well, because my thought for playing the Safekeeper is that next turn we have 3 mana, we cast the Nadu, we have this already on board, but the Delighted Halfling gives us the extra mana to do so if we really want.
Yeah. We're definitely at risk of just dying here, but I think if we swords, we're not like doing anything.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, it's always cool to see like players playing different versions of decks. Obviously, Cradle Control's done really well recently. I believe in this, is it the Super Qualifier or the Legacy Super? Newton and another person on their list did really well and made top 8, and then Newton had to drop for dad duties. And Mengu played it at the European Legacy Masters and went 8-0-1, I believe. So it's cool to see players still going for this sort of line as well, this sort of deck. Oof, okay. No Cradle's pretty big.
We're in so much danger, though.
Okay. Hmm.
I think if we want to dig through our deck, I think I kind of like playing Teferi,
Yep.
bouncing one of the Dryad Arbors, which takes them off of a mana, and then depending on what we hit, potentially swordsing the Heritage Druid.
Yeah. Nice.
Like they're not doing much, which to me insinuates that they have an expensive spell in their hand.
Hmm.
So I think just trying to restrict their mana here to keep them off of like a natural order or whatever.
Okay. Then we can hold up. I guess we just want to swords now. I guess we
Yeah.
yeah, like we could try to
Well,
wait for them to cast a elf, but then if they have cradle, like potentially the one less mana adds up. Hmm.
so actually, maybe it makes more sense to swords the Dryad Arbor.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah, I like that because as well, if they want to be able to use the Heritage Druid, they have to tap it and this, which means the Teferi isn't dying, which is small, but I don't mind that. Oof. Okay. Is this lethal?
Well,
8. No, it's not. I don't care about the Teferi, which is nice. Okay.
yeah, let's see what we can put together here.
I assume we use the Trop? Maybe the Tundra because we only have... Like, best case is, like, say, double sword, but we've already used 2, so I assume there's only going to be 1, potentially. Yeah, I think we just use Tundra.
Yeah.
Okay. That's nice. So I would assume we're holding up sword here, obviously to stay alive. Which
Yeah.
leaves us with this mana plus potentially the forest.
So I think we want to play the forest, play the Uro, draw and put in the Hedge Maze. So I think we can get rid of Endurance
Yeah.
and Halfling.
Yeah. The other line is forest, and then we have swords and endurance as a blocker.
Oh yeah, we could play it as a blocker. I didn't think of that.
And then we could put back... We probably don't need the halfling, so we could Uro into Hedge Maze to then put the halfling in the bin.
No, I think I like what you said about just using the endurance as a blocker, though.
Okay. So putting on top, I assume we go halfling and Hedge Maze, and then draw the Hedge Maze, put the halfling in the bin, and then Uro a new
Yep,
spell.
that works for me.
Nice.
Oh wait, no, hold on. We're being dumb. We're gonna put the Uro back.
Put it in the bin.
Yes.
Nice. Very cool. I love that. Very nice.
What are we doing here?
Obviously getting rid of Crater Hoof now, so it's one less mana for the Cradle. But yeah, I didn't even think of surveilling the Uro into the bin to just get it into play as a 6/6. That's pretty sweet.
So actually, I know we were talking about playing the Endurance. Are we better off just playing Halfling and Safekeeper? Because these guys can already block the Elves.
Yeah, great point. I don't think they're in a position to like overrun us. 2, 4, yeah.
Is this second natural order?
Yes. But, another.
Ooh.
Wow.
That is unexpected.
Well, we weren't beating that, so. Nice. Tough. I was like, okay, Atraxa, not too bad. What do you think about Toxicrene just for Cradle?
I mean, we can try it. I'm definitely open to exploring things. It doesn't sound great.
Yeah. Maybe in the maybe pile if we think of like a card that isn't as great. Because I assume essentially here we want to have some control over how they're building out their board through Swords of Plowshares and other removal, but try to probably just combo off faster than they can.
Yeah, so this is a matchup where endurance doesn't matter. Teferi like kind of doesn't matter. What else doesn't matter? Safekeeper doesn't matter, although I always hate cutting it.
Like I don't think Force Negation is really where you want to be. Like,
I'm actually not sure because like if they are on, they're definitely on old school elves. So like if we think they have glimpse, it's like not unreasonable if they have 7 targets we want to hit. But they do also have Allosaurus Shepherd. So
yes. Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying out the Toxicrene over the Safekeeper.
Go for it.
Just to see how it gels. It's obviously a pretty niche thing. Chat also said that we can consign to memory the Craterhoof targets, which is pretty funny.
Yeah, I was debating if that was worth it or not.
I don't mind having one. I don't mind seeing how this goes. And then if there's a game 3, maybe think more about the consigns of the forces.
I mean, I'm just like, what is it better than? Maybe it's better than Teferi, because Teferi doesn't do much here.
Yeah, let's try it out. Ooh, okay. Okay.
Hand's great.
Yeah. Like other than a removal spell, but we do somewhat need blue mana, but
yeah, so that's fine. We're gonna green sun Zenith for it on 2. So we'll go turn 1 Nomads, turn 2 green sun, turn 3 Nadu.
Nice. Yeah, it's actually great because I was thinking like turn 1 green suns for Dryad Arbor, turn 2 Nomads and green suns for that, but I don't think you need to. I think you can keep a green suns. I do enjoy how happy your dog is to get inside.
It's because she heard something at the front of the house.
Swords is a nice pickup. But I think we're just trying to do our thing here.
Dude, it brings me a lot of joy seeing like old school elves.
Yeah.
Even if it's been beating me. I don't know. Just
That's a good dog if I ever heard one.
yeah, she's pretty good. They're both good dogs. We're pretty lucky. Like I said, she's not good around other dogs, so that part sucks. But you know, they're very very loving. Generally, don't cause problems.
Nice. All right. I don't believe there's anything that can have you while they're tapped out-ish.
Yeah, I don't think so either. You know, it's obviously too late to go back, but I was just thinking about like your original Green Sun Zenith for Arbor on one,
It
Green
gives you
Sun
the mana
Zenith
for
for Mana
swords.
Dork on two, and we would have had another creature in play, which would be nice for this. But
That's very true, yeah. Okay. Okay. Interesting. I think we play the Nomad and go again.
I don't think I would play the Nomad.
Okay.
I'm trying to think because it's going to take up a white source. We only have 2 white sources, so I think we want to keep them both for swords. I don't hate fetching for
Dryad Arbor? Green Sun's for
yeah,
Dryad
I
Arbor?
don't hate fetching for Dryad Arbor, and
First.
no, I would have just fetched for it.
Ah, yeah, okay. Yes.
Otherwise, fine. Now we have 2 swords, so
Yeah.
oh yeah, I forgot about the Karakas too.
Can also just keep going.
Yeah, that's fine.
Nice. Come on, land. Okay.
So then I think we swords the Wirewit symbiote before we pass.
Yeah, I guess we could also like go after their mana a little bit. Like this is 2 mana.
I wouldn't, I don't think, because we can try to flip into a Force Wolf or anything. But if they play Allosaurus Shepherd into the natural order, that we have the sword still available for the Shepherd.
That's a great point. There we go. Okay. So first off, we take out the shepherd. And then we just try to go off and find a force of will.
Like we have 10 looks, so we should hit it.
Nice. Just while it's on the stack. I assume just the ponder? Interesting. Dryad Arbor. Okay. Are we just using all 10 here?
We can. Like, I think personally I'm lazy, so I just like wouldn't even bother.
Okay. I'll be quick. Nice. I guess as well, like, we do want to try to work towards Bristly Bill, so maybe we just untap here. We also get to Green Sun's Toxic Cream, which is cool. Okay. Get Bristly. Land. Nadu. Trigger. Let's get rid of this. I'm just going to get the blockers out of the way and then most likely kill them this turn, thanks to Bristly.
Well, if we're... Oh, never mind. I was going to say, then we should maximize the damage by using the swords, because then we could activate Bill's ability too.
Ooh, nice.
But no, I think we're going to be a bit short, actually. I mean, I feel like nothing matters at this point. They should just concede.
Yep. Consign's cool. I believe you have one more trap. Just going to play out the halfling.
This is like both one of my favorite and least favorite parts of playing this deck. When you get to the point where it's like your decisions just don't really matter anymore.
Is it? It's not a triggered ability, is it? No. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to 6 here for time. Untap Teferi, bounce, and then attack.
Got to double the counters for good measure.
Okay. Nice. Build your own Crater Hoof. I was pretty happy with that. I felt like they also do respect counter magic, and maybe it was just by chance, but both games they have had Shepherd out when they've gone to natural order. So maybe that's a consideration to not look at the forces.
Yeah, it's still not clear to me. I don't think they're a club stack because they haven't cast one. So
Yeah.
they probably only have 3 natural orders. So 4 force is probably enough. So I think you're right. The way they're playing does make me kind of like the Consign to Memories a little bit too, though.
Okay. Yeah.
So I might actually want the second over the Teferi, just to kind of make sure that those natural orders are covered.
Yeah. I love that.
I don't know. It's like awkward because it feels bad against the rest of their deck, but not dying is pretty cool.
Yeah, still pretty sweet. For some reason, when I thought of people referring to natural order, it was the targets that are chosen. But of course, no. It is just pretty much a Torpor Orb against Crater Orf. I like the hand as well. Like, fetch into Trop, and then, yeah, Brainstorm up with a fetch land. Force if needed.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm on board.
Nice. The deck's been pretty smooth so far, which is nice.
Yeah, like I said, I think the deck is very good. I will say, part of me feels like I've probably just been running hot with it, but I don't know, it just feels like one of the better decks I've played. And I've played a lot of Magic, so.
I think I'm still happy to get Trop, even though you got the Prismatic, because the Trop casts the Brainstorm, and then from there, hopefully, the land we fetch gets something else. Okay. Okay.
Man, they are going.
Yeah, they only have 2 cards left, but if it's like Wirewood and Visionary, that's pretty sweet. No.
So we have to Prismatic Ending the Wirewood symbiote.
Yes.
Which kind of sucks.
Yes. So thinking, is there a reason to Brainstorm first and then fetch for the white source?
I don't really think so.
No. I think that's actually fine, because if they do have natural order off the top, we have the Consign.
Yeah, I mean, if they have the natural order, we're still in a rough spot, but at least we're not dead. Hopefully their hand is just like Forest, though.
Yes.
Okay, well, them attacking with just the Nettle Symbol and then not playing anything is an incredibly good sign.
Yeah, I think like Brainstorm here to try to set up or dig a little bit.
That's fine.
And untap with 4 mana. Okay.
Ugh, gross.
I like to think that either the Ponder or the Brainstorm finds a removal spell, so I don't mind keeping the Force.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely keeping. Just like I'm losing a land.
Yeah, cool. And then it's to see the most cards, we just want to fetch first.
Yes.
Probably for a Tundra.
This is actually tricky. I think yes. I would get Tundra here, and I would use the Tundra for the Ponder, though.
Yes.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Oh wow, Nadu won a Legacy Pit tournament yesterday as well.
I think they're talking about the DMV tournament. that my friend Brady won.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um.
The Legacy Pit is no more, but Ryan Freeberger, who is heading the DMV league, was a big part of the Legacy Pit. So I think that's why Legacy Pit is in quotes.
Nice.
Ryan Freeberger, good person, good judge, stalwart of the local-ish community.
So this is obviously like access to Nadu and potentially Safekeeper or Bristly. Yeah, Bristly, I guess, maybe. But we would lose a Brainstorm. We would lose a Green Suns if we Green Suns.
Yeah, so I mean, I am keeping this, but I'm not Green Sun Zenithing this turn anyways, I don't think.
Okay.
Because we have to keep up the consign.
Yes.
So there's an argument for shuffling it, but I think giving us Nadu next turn is pretty big. And
Yeah.
then did we leave Safekeeper in?
Quick look. I don't believe we did.
I
No,
don't
there
think
it
so
is.
either. Okay, so I'm still keeping.
Yeah. I think it's Karakas, Green Suns, draw Green Suns.
I agree. I'm just trying to think, though, because I think it's like next turn Green Sun for Nadu, and the following turn, it's like I don't know if we do anything. I guess the following turn we Green Sun for Bill, and then play. Yeah. Hopefully we draw a non-fetch. Hopefully we draw another fetch land.
Ooh,
They
those
are a
golems.
slim stack. Okay. That sucks.
Okay. Ooh.
There's no way.
Oh my gosh.
We just got so lucky.
Yeah, there's no point brainstorming here. It takes us one deeper to have a look.
Yeah, no. I don't see the need.
Yep. Okay. I guess, honestly, we could also go for Toxicrane to turn off the Cradle.
I mean, we've already established they don't have anything. Although I guess, actually, hold on. Next turn, they can... How much does it cost to activate Allosaurus Shepherd? 6?
6. 4, 5, 6. Yeah.
Though they would be attacking for 10. And then what? Oh, we're running out of time.
I don't mind it. And then holding up consign as a just in case. Actually, no, we can't.
I still think I'm just playing Nadu.
Okay. Holding up consign.
Yeah.
Nice. 1. Ooh. Oh. Ooh. Huh. Okay.
We can force that.
Sorry. Yeah, it's green creatures, right? Sorry. That's on me. Tough.
Sorry, I needed to open my mouth faster.
No, that's all good. Oof.
Oh, that card.
Is it Green Suns for 1? Yeah, apologies. I just had in my mind that everything can't be counted.
Happens.
Just green spells. Yeah, I didn't even think to hold up white mana because I didn't even think that they would have a way to deal with the Nadu. That's true. We could, if they try to draw another card, we could hit the consign. Is that worth it?
Oh, yeah, we probably should have thought of that like ages ago.
Yeah, it could consign the behemoth, but they also have to keep running.
I think it is safe to say we've lost this one.
Yeah, the time is tough as well because even if we top deck Nomads.
I mean, even if we top deck Nomads, I think they're just going to have like too much for us to overcome.
Hmm.
Two, 4, 5. Yeah, like they have 17 power in play now, plus they can activate Allosaurus Shepherd.
Yes. And then played a land yet either. I don't think there's much we can do. I think we're happy to. Yeah. I think it's just a bit too wide. Tough.
Damn. Well, sad that I couldn't score a trophy for you like some of our other co-hosts, but
that's all good. We can try to finish this off as a 4-1, which honestly the deck's felt really powerful.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not mad about losing Elves. Elves has like always been one of my favorite decks.
Yeah, it's cool to see someone trying out like the Glimpse version as well, or at least going back to a bit of the old history of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I feel like I kept hearing people say, "Oh, Orcish Bowmaster is on a decline. Like maybe it's time for it to come back." Orcish Bowmaster decline. But I feel like since the ban, it's been on the rise again. So it's weird that people are trying it now. But
yeah, it's very true. When is the next episode of the Dark Depths podcast coming out?
Question many have been asking. I think not this week, but I believe next week will be the end of our hiatus.
Nice. That's great to hear. Are both of you planning to attend Eternal Weekend?
Yes. Yes. I have already bought my tickets. I don't believe Billy has bought his tickets yet.
Okay.
So hopefully he doesn't miss the window. I took off work the second I knew it was a thing, or like the second I knew what the dates were. Got my lodging booked, and I'm excited to battle. They're doing another High Roller Legacy event, so gonna play in that again. Then I'm gonna do the main event for Legacy. I will not be playing Vintage. And yeah, and Thursday I will be playing Sides all day, and Sunday they have a Team Trios event, so I've got that lined up as well.
Nice. That's sweet. That'll be a really great event. And it's sweet as well.
Excited.
Being able to, like, obviously ramp, have Teferi with potentially force backup, like 2 Nadus, 1 for force, 1 for the combo, and then just drawing into the Nomads naturally is pretty nice. I think if they countered this in any way, I'd be happy to force, because then it just means we don't have to worry about force on the Nadu or the Nomads. Like, you would probably fight back. They're also down to 3 cards. They did mull to 5.
That's pretty good for us.
Nice. We could tick down just to try to dig for a land, but we can do that next turn anyway. So the only reason to dig is probably to find a Force of Will, but I think against this deck we don't really need a Force.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't really matter too much. I would just tick up.
Yeah, I assume this isn't a Bolt deck.
So if they untap and play Petty Theft, we're going to look real dumb.
That's true.
But I don't think there's many Brazen Borrower Teferi decks.
I would agree with that. Yeah. Okay.
My best guess would be that we're against Breakfast, actually.
Just not the land we wanted.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
If we're against Breakfast,
That's nice.
Yeah, it means we can probably just pass here. We can probably play the Nomad.
I actually wouldn't play the Nomads.
Yes, I think just what you said in the game 1, don't open it to removal.
Could have attacked there for 1, though.
Yes, yeah. I don't think there's a blocker we really... The only blocker I could... Yeah, they can't actually Teferi, yeah. Like, potentially Doorkeeper Thrall, but Teferi stops them from casting anything, so...
You may want to fire off the Brainstorm, just...
for the sake of it. Okay. Nadu on top. Endurance. We know what those hits are. That's kind of cool as well. If you really wanted to, you could evoke the endurance and then get 2 extra triggers.
It's definitely come up for me.
That's cool. All right. Up we go. Here we go. All right, now we're looking at clean cards. Okay. I've been pretty happy with people just conceding, which I understand, especially with time as a constraint. But it's nice not to have to kind of play them out too much.
Yeah, I just think most people realize, like, it doesn't matter if we full combo. If we just, like, go up 12 cards, we're going to win.
Is this similar to our match 1 where we just didn't really see enough to sideboard a whole lot?
Yeah, so I would say we saw Teferi, we saw Narset, so we know it's a control deck. I actually kind of like having force negations in,
Cool.
especially against cards such as like Wrath of the Skies or even their planeswalkers. The swords are do not really matter very much. Um, like the creatures we're expecting are maybe Triumph of St. Catherine, but outside of that, like it's control deck. What like probably fourth, which your swords aren't particularly good against. I would bring in Prismatic Ending as an answer to the Planeswalkers.
Nice.
If you wanted, you could easily have a Veil of Summer in as well.
Nice. I like all those, especially for the mana they are.
There's also like an argument for bringing in an Outland Liberator in case you think they're a back to basics deck or a Blood Moon deck. Both of those cards are beatable without it, but like wouldn't hate it. I probably wouldn't bring it in. If I actually saw it in game 2 and didn't win, then I might bring it in for game 3.
Yeah.
But I would minus swords plus ending, fail, force negations.
Nice. Would you keep a sword?
Nah, no fear.
Cool.
I mean, if you want to, we can, but
I like the no fear. I think as well, like a lot of their creatures are pretty fair in the large scheme of things, and if we are comboing off, we don't really mind too much about what they're trying to do.
yeah, like there's also an argument they could be a Hull Breacher deck, but like I don't know if we get Hull Breacher, we get Hull Breacher.
Yeah. Interesting hand.
My yeah, it's not my favorite, but I would keep.
Yeah, having like just land drops to play. Obviously, Dryad Arbor is not the greatest, but the force is nice if we need it.
So in DC, my friend was playing a Legacy side events, and he actually played Nadu versus Hull Breacher, and his opponent got to Hull Breacher like Echo Vans him, and he already had a Nadu in play and just like untapped, drew the Nomads, and still just like easily won.
Okay. Nice. That's yeah, the decks just seem super powerful. I kept the land on top because I think a land is just really good in this matchup. Just keep making your land drops.
Yeah, especially with it being Karakas too.
And then a blue card for force is quite good as well. Yeah, great comment in chat about like Outland Liberator versus Knight of Autumn as a target. Do you like that Outland Liberator can potentially get that value of attacking and sort of Trigon Predatoring your opponent's spells?
I do.
Yeah.
It has come up for me multiple times.
I do like as well that Liberator can be used at instant speed, whereas Knight is just on your turn.
Yeah, there's also you can proactively get Outland Liberator where you can't proactively get Knight.
Yeah, that's a great point. Question is, do we want to commit anything to the board just yet?
I'm actually pretty okay playing the Nomads here.
Okay. Would you also play the Dryad Arbor? Just to get it sort of unsummoning sick?
I was leaning towards the fetch, but I don't hate playing the Dryad Arbor.
Okay. Hopefully it pays off. It is also an extra creature to have with Nadu on the field, which is nice. Have you played much with Tamiyo in either Modern or Legacy?
Yeah, I was playing it. I was playing it in a weird like Urza Nadu deck in Modern, and I was winning a bunch. Then I played it in. I've been playing it in Breach in Modern. I have not played a ton with it in Legacy. I've seen it more on the opposite side of the table.
Okay.
How about you?
I have not played with it. I still don't know if the decks that I typically play care about it. Like it's nice that Karakas is an answer to it, but you don't typically get that. But it has been decent against me in like getting clues and getting some card advantage that way, but I haven't been too I haven't felt too pressured by it as a planeswalker.
Yeah, I will say the games where you get to play it on 1 and flip it on 2, it is very good. But I think even though the ceiling is really high, I feel like the floor is kind of low. So I don't know. There's definitely a fair bit of variance to it.
Yes. I went for the Nadu here because they didn't force back on the back to basics, which I think was pretty brutal. So I felt like that meant they didn't have a force for the Nadu.
I also would have jammed.
Nice.
I think they must have Wrath of the Skies in their hand. Otherwise, like, why wouldn't they have conceded like they did game 2?
Yeah, very true.
So
the question is, how wide do we want to go?
I would keep going.
Okay. Would you play the Bristly to start?
I don't think so.
No.
I think this turn I'm just trying to like maximize Lux.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the first time we've seen birds this league?
That's a great question. Okay, there we go. I love this deck.
Good.
Nice.
So one final match. I'm going to disappear for a second. I will hopefully be back in time. I just have to use the restroom.
That's all good. Yeah, easy. In the meantime, a huge thank you to all of you for coming in and watching. Really appreciate it. The weekend's been fantastic. It's been really cool to have, all 7 guests on, which is nice. If you're not a follower of the channel, I would appreciate it if you were. And I think you'll like the content that comes out on this channel. You can also find all of the matches and all of my other content that'll be going up on YouTube. And then you can come and talk in my Discord about any decks that I play on camera, or of course any Green Sun Zenith decks, like Mav, like Depths. I need some help. Can we please go through the matches we've played? I know we just played, I believe, Blue-Black, Elves, Jeskai, and maybe another Jeskai? Match 1? I think that was a control deck. It was a 5-color Yorion. There we go. Hey Mist, I loved your deck, and I love that you play the dinosaur as well. I assume you did stop on the natural order for a little bit, so I assume you were thinking about Atraxa, but you did like that the dinosaur took out a combo piece. Yes, Apex Altasaur, which I assume is kind of where you are at. Like, Atraxa is great for value, but you wouldn't be able to then interact with the combo most likely. So being able to get rid of the Nomad makes a lot of sense. Or the Nomad or Bristly build? It was a Nomad. That's pretty cool. We both rolled 1. We both rolled 3. I've seen some crazy ones where it's like 6 rolls to find out who goes first.
I find it so weird that Moto does the die roll thing rather than just say, this person is going first.
Yeah, that is pretty funny. I like to think Moto just has fun with the die roll, and so internally as a computer just loves gambling. I don't know. It's like, let me be a part of it.
I'm a big die roll hater, so.
Okay. Are you an odd or even person?
I am an odd or even. Actually, my favorite ways to do it, my 2 favorite ways are poker dice. So like roll 5 dice, whoever has the best poker hand wins. Or you have one of you will choose a champion from the table next to you. And if that person ends up going first in their match, then you get to go first.
Nice.
Just put it completely in the fate of somebody else. I don't know. It makes it fun because then you get to like root for someone else.
Yes. Pretty sweet hand. Like a bit of the combo, a way to find Nadu, and then some setup with cantrips. Probably just
I
going
recognize our opponent's name, but I can't remember what they typically play.
Ah, yes. I feel like we played against them.
Oh no, is this toast?
Oh, okay.
Oh, what a bad way to end the day. This is, I believe, our worst matchup, as I said earlier.
Okay. Does that in any way make you just want to jam the creatures to try to get towards Nadu earlier, or are we kind of like looking for things like Swords to Plowshares to control the matchup a little bit?
So like, I don't even know what's right. I'll be honest. I think just trying to get on the board as quick as possible is probably correct, but they're so much better at doing it. One of the things that's nice is playing your creatures is typically safe because Kozilek's command is the only removal they have.
Yeah.
And I find if they're casting Kozilek's command, you're usually happy that they're doing that rather than killing you.
But yes. I believe Fleshbreaker can also target anything.
No, it's only opponent.
Ah, good. Okay. There is a thought in case we draw like a summoning sick land to go Flooded Strand into... I guess it doesn't matter because we have 3. I was going to say into Tundra to be able to cast the Nomads, but then hold up Ponder. But it could just be.
So.
From like a life perspective, it could just be Savannah Pass with Nomads.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with basically anything. I think I would just play the Nomads.
Yep.
The other thing that's nice about just playing the Nomads is sometimes you see these decks still playing Chalice. It's not the most common anymore, but getting it out before Chalice on 1 kind of ruins your life is, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Eldrazi I've found to be a pretty tough matchup to really know how to attack it. It's quite foreign to me to play a Wasteland Knight of the Reliquary deck and feel not favored. And I feel like their mana, typically going after soul lands is like a decent strategy, but it feels like their mana just always works or always comes together. The Kolaghan's commands definitely help with that because you can just create the scions. But it's kind of weird for like, Gaddock Teague to be in the mix of like cards that are, somewhat disruptive against Eldrazi, which, 3 years ago, definitely not. It's been really hard to find like the real card that gets them.
Yeah. They're just so fast and they're so consistent. I don't know. Like this was, I was really hoping they would hit something from this deck. Obviously they did not.
Yeah, it's very powerful. And I find that the games I win against it are kind of where they've just stumbled on their own without me really interacting with them too much.
Yeah. I find like ways of affecting their mana, like Blood Moon and the blue card Harbinger of the Seas.
Yeah.
Like those are pretty effective, but like they're not cards I want to play in this deck personally. I mean, like you could play Harbinger of the Seas because you have the basics, but like I think you end up still just like screwing yourself as much as them, which is like why I'm trying the Toxicrene. But unfortunately, I just feel like the Toxicrene is a little slow.
Yeah, 100%. The like typically Green Sun, so it's typically 5 mana, which by turn 5 there's a lot that's happened out of a deck that is quite low to the ground. White mana. Okay. I guess, yeah, one other thought for the Savannah and getting a Tundra is that it opens up the line of just fetch land and Brainstorm being open to you as well. Oof. It's 9 power.
Yeah, it's just like they're very good at just putting an obscene amount of power into play so quick.
Yes. I think it's try to ponder to put a Nomad, a Nadu on top and then play the
Yes,
Safekeeper.
100%.
No, but there is a Swords.
It's not good enough, I don't think. Well, okay, so if you swords the Thought-Knot Seer, you remove, what, 6 power? Then you still have 2/3/3s. You draw Brainstorm or Teferi. Those cards, like, don't matter. You can, then the following turn, bounce one of those, soaks up a little bit of damage. I think you're supposed to shuffle. Like, it just feels like this just buys time, but it doesn't win.
Yeah, so next turn we're definitely taking 6. So we're going to 10. If we take the Thought-Knot hit, we're going to 4. Pretty much 3 if we use the fetch, so then both of these are lethal, which is tricky. So if we do keep the sword, take this out, we go to 10. We get to draw a card, probably the Teferi, just because it does bounce. I guess we get to draw both because we're not shuffling. Potentially the sword keeps us in the game for like 1 extra turn to try to get something together.
I don't know.
If you shuffled, what do you think would be good off the top? Like, other than, I guess, Nadu.
I think, yeah, nothing, but like you just have to hit Nadu. I mean, you could also hit another swords, but like, I just don't think we're winning the game if we keep this. I think we're only winning the game if we hit Nadu, basically, which like feels bad, but
yeah. Well, I guess here we get to hold up swords, which is nice. So it works out. Because I believe we did shuffle. Yes, good, okay. Okay. Six mana. Oof.
my friend just texted me because I didn't mention to him that I was gonna be streaming Nado with you this morning, and he has recently discovered his love for the bird.
That's cool. I love to hear that. Come on, Nadu. If there's one time. Okay.
Okay, well, we'll brainstorm.
Yes. We're not dead. Ooh, okay. Ooh, okay. Okay.
We are in here.
Yes. So we probably want to put land Nadu on top.
Yes.
Yeah. Island and then Nadu, and then we play the Tundra for the sword, and we play the Safekeeper off the Savannah.
Yes.
I guess it's a little bit tough because we're probably getting rid of the Thought-Knot. So what if we go Nadu and then Island? So then if we get rid of the Thought-Knot and they Thought-Knot us again, we still haven't got the Nadu in hand.
Yes.
So I think, yeah, Nadu and then Island. Tundra. Safekeeper, and then hold up sword.
Okay, and this breaks a lot of damage.
Mm.
Because, I mean, well, I guess it depends on if you want to block or not. But we can block both It That Betrays, or whatever it's called, It That Heralds the End, and then redirect the damage from Nomads onto Sylvan Safekeeper.
That's pretty cool. Okay.
Or we could just take the damage and see if Nadu is enough next turn.
I like that. Yep. I like just, especially having both creatures around.
Okay, it's Nadu time. Play the island.
Yep. Hold up the
Leave
Tundra.
up. Leave up Savannah.
Okay. I guess that allows us to cast any creature that we want, or a Green Suns to keep going.
Correct. Aura Swords.
Yes. Opponent just asking when they're going to get a co-host invite. All right. Okay.
Nope, that goes away.
Yeah. Nice. Keep. I think just because it gets
that, I guess.
Dryad Arbor. Or Bristly. I guess that's another Nadu we could potentially play. Oh, there's Dryad Arbor. Okay.
Oh yeah, we're doing it.
Nice. Sorry. Oh, sorry. We're definitely not attacking. We'll just go to second main. Let's target this. Okay, that's really nice. Let's target this. Okay. I'm pretty happy to ponder here. Just to see if we hit a 1-mana creature.
I don't think. I'm trying to think. Would we even want to play it though?
There is also a thought of like Glaring Fleshbreaker being the way for them to reach that 2 damage, so maybe it's worth just passing here.
Yeah, I think I just pass.
Because we have hit all, right? I believe.
We have what?
We've hit everything.
Oh, yeah. You did everything. I was paying attention this time.
Cool. No Nantuku in this list.
Oh, I'm just catching up on chat.
Ooh.
I would call this permanent combo Acme Mist. Definitely permanent combo. Technomage, I feel your pain. I bought a Sea King's Blessing, and then they banned Nadu, and I'm furious. Rob Job, the blue-black matchups feel very close. I think we might be a slight favorite, but like it's incredibly close, and I would like to find something to make it feel better. If they have like turn 2 fatty, it's hard to win, but I feel like it's hard for anybody to beat that. If the game goes longer than that, I start to feel favored. But yeah, it's like I would not pick this deck up to beat blue black, but I'm not scared of that matchup, if that makes sense.
We're definitely blocking 1 here. Well, I guess we have to block both, but I'm just wondering what we get rid of. Probably the Dryad Arbor, just a chump block.
Yeah, so they are 3/3s, right?
Correct. I also
Okay,
didn't force this because I feel like the force has to be for Glaring Fleshbreaker.
Yeah, that's fair.
We can also get some value off this before it dies. Okay. And then I think here we try to Bristly Bill the Nadu, or I guess everything.
Hate that they're at 33 life. See, this is like, I mean, it's pretty miserable to do on Moto, but this is like an example of where I want the full combo in the deck. Just to be like, yes, there's no way I lose from here.
Yeah, that's fair. Can we also note the lands that are left in the deck? So Dryad Arbor's gone.
I can just, how many do we have? We have 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 1 in hand. How many in graveyard? 11, 12, 13, 14. So there's 7 lands left in the deck.
Okay. We can bounce this.
And of them, we have 1 trap, 1 basic's in the art. So 1 trap, 1 basic, and the rest are fetches. And a Karakas.
Okay. I think I might start with Teferi Bounce. See if we can get in for a bunch.
Putting in their hands seems not great. Well, I guess it's fine because we have the Sylvan Safekeeper.
Yeah. What if we get Bill on board and do the math to see how big we can make our creatures? Oh.
Where's Bill?
Exiled? Okay. Too much card advantage, GG. Okay. Bill got exiled with Thought Knots. Yeah, there we go. Yes.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about
that. These 3, obviously the consigns seem great. I'm not too sure if like Liberator is something you want in this matchup.
I don't think so.
Cool. I assume
some of them do have artifact packages.
Endurance doesn't seem to have too much text.
Yep, nope. That's usually one of the first cards I'm cutting.
Nice.
I think Teferi is also kind of weak here. The forces are so awkward because when they play Cavern of Souls, you look dumb, but I think you need to leave them in the deck. Yes. Thankfully, Toxicrene helps with that somewhat. I think you can shave a Mana Dork because they tend to survive, and then you can shave a Ponder.
Nice. That is 60. I'm pretty happy with that. A Consign in the opener would be great.
I think Consign is just like the best sideboard card in Legacy right now.
Yeah. I guess Boseiju is also a nice way to deal with Cavern because they typically don't have a land to go get with it.
How do I feel about this hand? It's funny, against most decks I would say this hand is good, so I guess I would keep it.
Yeah. It's a little bit tricky not to have removal, but it's also sometimes nice against like Thought Knot to not have the removal in your hand.
Yeah, until they Thought Knot or Bill again and we're confused.
Yeah, I think it's probably just drop Halfling and then opens up Brainstorm the following turn.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, sorry, chat said, what is the reasoning behind the drop in Spring Heart?
So you can still definitely play Springheart and en-Kor if you want. As you probably have seen from a lot of these games, you just don't need it most of the time. It's really nice to have it for like, because sometimes there are times where it is what wins you the game. But a lot of times just being like, here's a bunch of power in play and I have a couple forces in hand is enough. And so you get rid of one of the weakest cards in your deck to just have a slightly stronger deck. If somebody wants to play it, I'm definitely not faulting them. I wouldn't be stunned if I was back on it by the time Eternal Weekend comes around. But right now I'm trying it without. It's been totally fine. Haven't really missed
Oof.
it. I will say, in paper, it might be a little bit better where I imagine more people are likely to play it out versus online. I feel like people are just like, I'm just going to move on with my time. I don't want to sit here. But geez, I hate what's happening on the other side of the table.
Oh, yeah. We do have Boseiju, which is nice. We can hold up. Unfortunately, we need a green source.
No, so what you can do is you can play Plains, play Bill, and then you have Boseiju online. It does mean you don't have Consign for the turn, but
Interesting, because it's legendary, yeah. Yes. Yes, okay. So I guess we can bill and then land to trigger it.
no, because
No.
you don't have a green source if you do it that way.
Yeah. That's fair. I guess we do have to care about the chalice. I was going to say we could Boseiju like the eye, but I think we just are kind of forced with our hand into getting rid of the chalice.
I hate sewing Mike Spawn so much.
It is typically a 3-for-1, which is pretty brutal.
Yeah, I also I don't find the new post list very fun to play as, whereas old post was one of my favorite decks. So it's good against decks I like, and it invalidated a deck that I like. So it's just like, ugh.
Especially turn 2. Come on now.
No. That's what you're doing. Never mind. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay. I wonder if they want to
We knew about the Devour. I didn't even think about that.
Well, they do run a forest. Interesting. Is it greedy to start with the Brainstorm without another blue card, without another blue source?
No.
Okay. A little late. We are playing the Trop.
Yeah, so
And
I
probably
think I would
Nomad.
put back. This sucks. Yeah, I think I'm putting Consigned Meticulous Archive on top, playing Trap, passing.
Play the Nomad?
Oh, yeah.
Nice. And then, they currently have what? 9. So it is a 2-turn clock. But we do potentially have Brainstorm to dig towards Nadu. Oh, they also have the Cavern.
Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You have to counter that.
Yeah, it gets rid of the eye. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh my gosh.
That makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so we can play this to get 1 deeper and then Brainstorm to try to find Nadu.
Yeah.
Graveyard. Brainstorm. No, but swords is nice. We have played a land for turn. So here we have Consign to take out like probably a Sowing Microspawn trigger and then have the sword up. So I think it's put back Tundra and then Hedge Maze, draw the Hedge Maze and put the Tundra into the bin.
I think we're just dead.
Okay. We are at 7. I would assume it's just another Sowing Microspawn.
I think it's another Devourer.
Ah, yeah, okay.
Maybe they'll mess up and make it counterable.
I guess you never know. So we untap, we play the land to put the Tundra into the bin. We block with 1 creature. And then we probably block with the Delighted Halfling to then hopefully draw into Green Suns off the top potentially. Okay. So you're saying there's a chance. All right. Land. Graveyard. Us. We got a lot of live draws. Brainstorm, like cantrips, Green Suns, Nadu. Ooh. Okay. That makes it pretty easy. Does Outland seem viable?
Now that we know they have Chalice, I do not hate bringing Outland in.
Cool.
And then I kind of like cutting Ponder.
Cool. Just have the 1 ponder.
Yeah, I just my general rule of thumb is against Chalice decks, like I want to drop my 1-drops, and it's the least impactful one.
Yeah. All right. Oh, okay. One of our first mulligans.
That's wild. I feel like a mulligan all the time. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Keep this. And then it's interesting. I like that we get to hold up Consign turn 1.
I'm trying to decide what goes away.
I
feel like it's Brainstorm.
Yeah. Because we still have potentially Force with Nadu if we really need it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, you could talk me into banning Force and keeping Brainstorm, but I think it's pitch Brainstorm. I guess you could also talk me into Green Sun Zenith, but
I don't mind the Brainstorm. But yeah, it is tricky because like Force is probably the more dead card if they have Cavern. Brainstorm not so much because you have the consign for Chalice. But I think there's a reason why your gut feeling was Brainstorm. Tough thing is here where they have nothing. They're like, do we still Green Suns this turn? Oh,
that's good.
Yeah. I mean, that means we just get to go Nomad into Green Suns for Dryad Arbor off a Trop and then hold up Force.
Yeah, I like that.
Trop.
Also, I just saw the chat comment about last game, our opponent having Yavimaya in play. Like, so we could have had gotten the value off that bill. Ultimately, didn't matter, but definitely something important to keep in mind against this deck.
That's a great point.
It's also very important for when you have a bunch of lands in play. Like, a lot of times, a bunch of them are fetch lands, and you don't think they can do anything. But if there's a Yavimaya, that boo. Don't wasteland us.
Yeah, that's not the worst.
It's not good either.
Rip. Oof. That's not too bad because you get to go for Delighted Halfling or Bird.
I think Bird is better.
Yeah, especially in a matchup where you don't really care about the uncounterable. It's like the Cavern Lotus Petal Thought Knot, the line that is backbreaking. Ooh.
Huh. I'm surprised to see them just pass there.
Yeah.
I feel like they have to have something. I wonder if this is going to be a command. It's probably going to be a command trying to exile the Nomads with it on this. No? Okay.
Oh. Well.
Hell yeah.
Nice. There we go. That's really sweet. Finished 4-1. Yeah. That was sweet. I do really appreciate people in chat bringing up cards that are like seen play in the Nadu decks, like Leovold, Cradle, Springheart Entuku, like Oracle or Saga or Shuko. But it felt really good just to be a pretty mid-range deck with a combo finish without too many cards that by themselves don't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, I love this deck.
Yeah, it's it's sweet. It's got like a little bit of everything. It's got a combo finish, a little bit unfair, like a oops I win, which is kind of similar to Depths, that you get to play like a mid-range plan, and then if you want to go off, you just can. But to have the kind of permission of force and the consistency of cantrips makes this deck really appealing. That was cool. I think, yeah, those matches went really well. The like mulligan decisions, there weren't too many. Most hands had like a pretty good plan, which is always nice. Yeah, I think if anything, I do have Nadu in paper, but I do have a different build that I would like to just move towards this type without the Saga plan.
Oh yeah, I saw when you put together the Saga builds a while ago. So I think I said this earlier in the stream, but the deal with the Sagas is just like it's so hard on your mana and it eats up. So to me, it has to eat up a spell slot. So then you're like taking away from cards that matter. And then Shuko is just much worse than Nomads. That being said, like in the head-to-head, the breakfast version is, I definitely think, favored in like that pseudo mirror, just because they're a little bit more faster and it's slightly like they can go off like a turn sooner, a little bit quicker. But I think just in general, this is a more stable deck. They also have to contend more with the bad cards issue. Like having Narcomoeba in your deck is not good. And like Cephalid Illusionist by itself is a worse card. But, it is able to just win the game. So I don't know.
Yeah, this is sweet. I feel like with my transition, or if there is a transition ever towards blue decks, then this is the way to go from like a Green Suns gamer towards the Cantrip Cartel and Force of Will part of Legacy. And yeah, a huge thank you for coming in, especially when you were obviously not feeling well, getting up early, and yeah, fighting on for 4-1 is very cool. So I very much appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, it was my pleasure. I'm glad we could make it work, especially because last time we had technical difficulties. So it was nice that this went a bit more smoothly.
Yes, it does. I will put a link to the Dark Depths podcast in the chat, but where else can people find you?
Yeah, so that is the main place to find me. As mentioned, we've been on a bit of a hiatus, but we are coming back. Do not fear. There's going to be slight differences, but still me, still Billy, still hopefully good content. You can also find me on Twitter at ExpeditionMap. Also, later this week, I think later this week, it might be early next week, I will be joining the Eternal Turtles podcast to talk about Nadu and some of the differences between this version and the Cephalid Breakfast version, which host Zach is leaning towards Eternal Weekend. So definitely check that episode out and their podcast in general. And yeah, otherwise, you can find me in person at Eternal Weekend.
Nice. Very cool. A huge thank you to you for coming in and co-hosting. A big thank you to the other 6 of you as well, as this is the end of the summit, which is bittersweet, but a huge thank you to you as well as a viewer, to all the new followers, the new subscribers. If you want to find more of me, you can find me on YouTube, you can find me on Twitter. But yeah, Mapson, a huge thank you. I'm going to see who else is streaming. I believe Doomwake is playing, so I might send you all over there. But yeah, a huge thank you once again. Feel better. Hope you have a nice end of the weekend. And
thank you.
Yeah, hopefully talk to you before Eternal Weekend.
Okay, sounds good.
Nice. All right, thank you all, and yeah, have a great weekend.